Okay, so board press, which is either prescribed, like say, either half board, one board, two board, three board, four board, five. You know, I think five's most to see someone go. But it also depends on the person's arm length, what we're trying to achieve. So basically, it cuts the range of motion short by putting an implement between the chest and the bar. Now, the typical way is boards like this, where you see it's like a one board, two board, three board, 3.5 board. Now, each of these designate, now each measurement's different. So normally it'll be roughly, each board will be roughly 2 inches. So sometimes a bit shorter. So we'll go, you think of it as that one board is 2 inches, two board is 4 inches. And then this is Americanized. So basically it's just come off American measurements, so they use inches. 3 would be 6, would be roughly 6 inches, roughly. So now we kind of designated as part of positions of the bench press, where if we don't exactly have this, have something that's similar that reduces the range of motions for the intent of that board. One board would be just to slightly reduce the range of motion of it, usually to take the stretch out of the pec, which is actually really good for injury prevention. A lot of my guys who are really strong guys, rather than loading up the bench press with really heavy numbers all the time, who just reduce the range of motion with a one board, or with Spotto press, or with a small implement, or even something like a fat grip, which you can put on the barbell. It's enough to reduce the range of motion to go through that, to reduce the lengthened portion of the pec, which is considered the weak portion of the pec. Then we have like a two board, which basically starts to put the emphasis just before the transition to the tricep. Now, another couple of things that would be good for that is, a replacement for that is, hey, you can use something like a shoulder saver. My preference is boards. Second preference would be, something like a shoulder saver from a Elite FTS. There are different sized ones, so you can see that's probably the difference between a 2 and a 3 board. I like this one over bench blocks. Bench blocks are it's easy to get. These are quite hard to get. But bench blocks, the problem I have with bench blocks is that it's basically a flat surface, and the problem is that the bar moves, it can rotate the block, where with the block I can position exactly where the lifter wants it. And this has the same circumference within that 180-degree arc. So even if the bar rolls, it's still roughly going to be the same difference, same distance. But I have a preference for a board. Another option that people do is they might use a foam roller, or a half foam roller, so that'll be almost like probably close to a 3 board or a 4 board. And if you don't have a spotter, again, these are a bit better if you don't have, because you need normally about 3 people to do this. Or you see people who might put this under their shirt as an implement. But let's do an example of say a 2 board, where I would hold a 2 board on Sarah's chest, and would also, because it's normally quite heavy, because you overload the bench press, you would also have someone handing her out. Normally you can do about, especially up to a 2 to 3 board, you can do about to 10-15% more load than normal. So basically you work out where it is. So just on top of the sternum, holding along that same incline, which comes to the chest, and then press. Good, rack. And that is how it's done.